for the second panel discussion, I would like to invite you, Mr. Amit Bhatt, Managing Director, ICCT, is the moderator of this panel, and the panel topic is Safety and Thermal Management in EVs. I would like to request Mr. Amit Bhatt, please come on the stage and take your seat. Our first panelist, KK Gandhi, Director, Center for Auto Policy and Research. Next panelist is Mr. Uday Narang, Managing Director, Omega Seiki Mobility. Our next panelist is Mr. Dattatraya, Saste, Advisor Member, High Level Expert Committee, Safety Ministry of Coal. Our next panelist is Dr. Ravi M. Bhatkal, Managing Director, India Element Solutions, INC, Cookson India Private Limited. Our next panelist, Yash Sachar, Vice President, Corporate Affairs, Ashok, Leyland.
As we saw from the conference agenda, is about thermal management of electric vehicles. And we have some esteemed panelists who have joined us. The only problem with this session is we are between lunch and then we are highly delayed from our schedule. So we will rework this a little bit, and instead of playing a test match, we will play a 20-20. So the way we'll start is that we'll start from my left. Each one of you have 4 to 5 minutes to make a remark, your perspective on what needs to be done, and then if we have some time, we will throw it open for audience from some quick questions. Yes? So we start with you, sir.
Hello. Good afternoon. I'm Yash Sachar. So I was observing in the first session, while we are all promoting EVs, from regulation point of view, it was being talked about as if we will sit in a electric bus, it will catch fire, and something very bad may happen to you. So I was thinking maybe whether it is a promotion of electric vehicles or otherwise. So I will do my role. I come from commercial vehicle segment, Ashok, Leyland. We have electric mobility wing, switch mobility. We have for electric mobility switch a plant in London. We are the second highest market share OEM there for double decker. In India, besides electric vehicles of various lengths and types, we have double decker in India. We are the single supplier as of now. So let me, instead of that fear, I will say something to build your confidence so you are not that afraid of joining this journey. We as all OEMs of commercial vehicle, I'm not only talking about my own organization, I'm talking about other 2-3 major players, names, one of the name is there, Tata, Volvo, Eicher, Ashok, Leyland, Switch Mobility. Let me assure you, first of all, the buses we are providing in India, they are no less than what is being provided in Europe. The laws there are stringent. Coming to very specific, that of the topic which is EV thermal, yes, of course, there is temperature issues. If it is cell, maybe temperatures of 40. If it is motor, temperature of 160, 170. But there are sensors for at cell level. If those are getting sensed, it will quarantine the very cell which may go off. If it is motor, then there are mechanisms to cool down. Of course, India has issues of temperature, but it is nothing new. We as 100 years of history, we have launched vehicles in ice for those potholes. So it is well known. And let me assure you, the journey of electric is not only this change from ice to EV, this journey is having a lot of features, shared, connected. Being the buses which we are running in Chandigarh, in a control room you can check what is the temperature inside that bus. There are many features. You can now map them on your app. What will be the time of arrival of that bus? So with this change, it is not only a small change from ICE to electric, it is a big change in terms of user perspective. So firstly, from commercial vehicle side, I would like to assure you, oh, please don't be afraid that much. What was being, maybe Mr. Saurabh Dalela and the colleague Vijanta San is here, they were trying to tell you there are a lot of challenges. Please come to me, I will test it for you, and I will test it the right way, it will not happen. That was the kind of pitch I was getting. Yes, with this change, not only commercial vehicle, there are other segments. In some of the segments, new startups are coming. Yes, there can be challenges with those startups, but yes, this is the change. India has a lot of startups now. So what's wrong? They may learn. If today the technology of ICE, which is so developed, the very airbag which was being provided for safety, it had also issues. So it's not only this change will have challenges. So again, third time I am telling you, please don't be afraid. That was only a gimmick played by ICCT to attract more business for them.
I really have to say, I really love what you're saying. And, I really appreciate, I don't think it's anybody, but I would really say some fantastic words from my side.
Yeah. After commercial vehicle, you will get more assurance from my dear friend Uday. The purpose here is, actually I'm, because he said I'm there in the between lunch and, so we are trying to make it more engaging. I also noted down some points. Last 6-7 years, this is being talked about. Electric means two issues, range anxiety and charging infra. For commercial vehicle, the charging infra is also provided by the vehicle bus manufacturers. So I don't feel this is a challenge. And they are, as of now, if we are going to talk about 50,000 buses, they will run at a predetermined route. So the second anxiety also is not there. So we are progressing for a big numbers. My request to you as a customers, if you have a choice of two buses coming, please opt for electric and contribute, and promote, sometimes shed away your cars and come to electric buses and see the beauty. Those are not only there in metros, now getting expanded to various other cities. I will add a few more lines if be given second chance to speak.
Myself, Dattatraya Saste. I will give slight brief about myself first. I was working with CIRT Pune and head of the department vehicle certification. After that, I was working for 4-5 years with the Ministry of Road Transport Highways on regulations. Now I am also a member of high-level committee on safety of mines. Plus, recently I am started working as a consultant advisor to Uttar Pradesh government project on integration. With this, I'm going to speak a few technical things. My experience basically, am I audible? Hopefully I'm audible.
Use this one.
Okay. Reliability started from this point itself. And I'm going to speak the same thing. See, basically, we have, I will tell you one more point that in 1991-92, I was selected I was given a job to be a convener of one of the panel under Ministry of Heavy Industries by DTTD on deciding the electronics policy. This is 30 years back. I was young at that time. We did a lot of work on semiconductors as well as power devices. Anything wrong? Okay. Now it is okay. I think design is also appears to be wrong. So I was given that opportunity to work on to that. And really we worked on power devices as well as semiconductor devices. And that time we estimated that the usage of semiconductor or electronics in car is going to be about 25 to 30%. And today after 30-35 years, it's a reality. So I'm very happy to see, and since I'm very delighted to be here to talk on some other issue, and which is a reliability based. See, basically, IC engine, now we have got electrical vehicles. In IC engine also, electronics has increased a lot. In electrical vehicles, you find that there are batteries. We have got a, set thinking about the battery, like, full-flooded lead acid battery. We think we have to come out of those thoughts that nothing happens, we can handle it any way we like. But now what has happened, there is a lot of development has taken in a battery technology, and we have come to electrical vehicle. Now look at the electrical vehicle. There is a battery management system, and your whole jargon is there. Communication is there. So every part of electronics and electrical has come into except battery. And then some mechanical part. Now it has really posed a challenge on safety. Now where it is that there are certain challenges which has a high current induced. Because we have got a big battery bank. Now it is up to our wisdom that while designing how to handle high current or make it low current by increasing your voltages. So when it is a high current, then the potential challenges about the sparks, bad conductor, conductivity, there are so many issues one has to address. Then coming to the high voltage challenges, because we tend to go to high voltages 440 and 650 and all those things. So our challenge is coming to the extent of creepage distance and all those. So this is a balance. So that balance designer has to strike. Then temperature and heat generation issues are there, which is out of conductivity, and also insulation and so many things are there. Those things are to be addressed. Then coming to the environmental issues. With the environmental issues, we know that when it is too much of the electrical and high voltages and all those things, dust is a problem which is also affect your creepage distance, water is a humidity is a problem. So you will have to have a proper design so that your ceiling is proper and everything is proper. So it is a big challenge than the IC engine. See, there are benefits of having battery vehicles, but if you find and you won't go into a design, you have a lot of challenges. Then coming to the components, which I talked 30 years back that it will be a 30%, it has come as a reality. Now you see that every electronics engineer, everybody know that we are carrying out component reliability testing. See, basically what has happened, in IC engine design, if something goes wrong, sky is not going to fall. But when we go to the electrical vehicle, you see that there is a lot of electronics, lot of semiconductor, lot of chips and everything is there. So reliability testing takes the front seat. So designer has to understand that he is doing proper reliability testing. Now I will tell you, something which is emerging from this place is the regulatory mechanism. That will emerge. New regulatory mechanism will emerge out from this reliability testing, so that, because what you look at the existing regulatory testing. What is that? It is a operational test. It is a safety issue you will have to curtail, whether it's lights and all those things. We don't have any reliability testing data. We have got a conformity of production regime in the place, which doesn't speak much on the reliability. Because I was instrumental in making it, but it doesn't speak on the reliability. So that is why coming regulations will be speaking more on the reliability. Now, how it will become and all that, but it will be simply an extension of conservatory of production. So we will have to look in that direction. Another thing is that we have did lot of telltale systems in automobiles. On IC engines, maybe it is temperature related and all those things. But we will have to evolve lot of telltale system for the protection. There are temperatures at various places. Your current base, they can be voltage base, they can be induced base and all those things. So one has to think of having a good telltale system and good cutting systems. So there also we will have to. Then there are another issues which are going to come into in the crash related issues. When vehicle meets with the accident, then also I will quote you example, Mr. Gandhi here. In 2013, on 30th October, one accident took place in Hyderabad, near Hyderabad. It was a Volvo. And it's very unfortunate that 45 people died. In that accident, ultimately, every expert came out and said that design of the vehicle is wrong. Their contention was that your fuel tank should not be behind the axle. And I was the person who certified the vehicle. I said, where it is written that it is not there, because it is only for sake of that. But design of the vehicle is not decided, because fuel tank can be anywhere. I immediately quote the example of the another accident which has taken place in Kannada, Maharashtra, where fuel tank on the sideline, it's Ashok Leyland vehicle. Propeller shaft broken, heated it, what the fire, once again casualty of about 45-50 people. See, basically therefore, why I have given you two examples for the IC engines. It is both related with the fuel tanks. So designer has to very, very careful, because in IC engines, okay, it is a one incident. But when it comes to electrical vehicle, the major shift of the responsibility is going to shift to the manufacturer. Correct. So I have only few points. The reliability testing I have spoken of. Then another is the software and firmware, which is going to be, because we have got lot of electronics and lot of software into that. And when it is a firmware software, everybody knows that there are challenges. I'm sorry. So there are challenges, everybody aware about that, but there also reliability testing is going to be very, very important. And another thought which is emerging out of this electrical vehicle, that we should have everything like, plug and play. A smaller electrical vehicle, we think in that direction, that is not going to happen. Nobody think of having electrical vehicle should be a plug and pay type. Then the second last issue, I have maintenance issues in the electrical vehicle. People are talking about swapping of batteries. See, with that also related issues, I will not speak about it, but you have to do a lot of standardization. There are design specific batteries and so many things are there. And during that, there may be spark or there may be anything. About cable connector and those issues are to be there. Circuit repairs and all these things. I will tell you that these maintenance issues will also bring out lot of things. Then the last which away from all these things, is about the life cycle testing, costing of the battery vehicles. See, in diesel vehicle, I did carry out life cycle costing. See, we will have to carry out the life cycle testing of the battery vehicle vis-a-vis IC vehicles, maybe in the buses, maybe in the cars, mainly in the transport vehicle. That's very important. So that we can decide what is the benefits, what are the benefits are to be given and all these things. I did not see that life cycle testing has been carried out. If it is so, if we can get the data, we can see. With this, I conclude my suggestion.
Thank you. Thank you very much. My name's Uday Narang. I'm the founder of Omega Seiki Mobility. Really, I'm just a disruptor. Right from the beginning, when I left Wall Street, after 30 years, I decided, why don't I work on green energy and sustainability because that's very, very close to my heart. But I'll say something. I'll say what my good friend at Ashok Leyland, and you know, big respect for Mahesh Babu, who's a friend of mine from his old days. He's a fantastic man, and I really respect him and close friend. I would say, look, people need to understand. You know, Rome wasn't built in one day. It takes time. I think, you know, India is a country, you know, I have traveled extensively over the last 7 or 8 years across this nation. I think we've got to take off the icy glasses off, and we've got to put the new world. We've got to learn. We've got to learn what happened in 2013, or we've got to learn what happened in 1950, but we've got to think 21st century, okay? So I'm never going to say, you know, the experience, you know, of super seniors like yourself and yourself, we've got to take the inputs. But I don't think, you know, a few, you know, in England we say, a few bad sheep don't make the whole flock bad, right? And I think, you know, a few bad or rogue players who have bought cells, you know, F-grade cells from China and have sold vehicles at 40,000 rupees and have had a fire, that doesn't make all of us bad, right? Please, I want to really, and I want to say this very clearly. There are a lot of good, I mean, you know, Switch Mobility is building buses. You know, we've got Tata, who's been building a success of, you know, of their vehicle right now, which has done, Nexon has done fantastic. We've put a lot of vehicles, Mahindra, Piaggio. So, you know, there's not one fire. There's not one fire in our vehicle. So please, I think we've got to take this in perspective. Now, safety, I think because of time, this whole topic has changed, and I think we'll just say our 5 minutes, and I'm thinking people are thinking, let's get to lunch and forget these guys from speaking. But the most important part is battery technology is much, much better over the last 9 years. With AI 156.1, with AI 156.2, let me tell you, being an OEM is a nightmare right now because the goalposts are changing every day, right? The rules are changing every day. You know, this is a marathon, not a sprint. And I think, you know, if you look at the production, the quality, the systems, I will tell you, sir, it is not as bad as some of the... Look, we need one life lost is too many, because that life could be your sister, could be my mother, and could be somebody's friend, right? So I think safety in terms of... The primary problem, honestly, has come from battery. I don't think there's really any major problem. And I think, you know, there's many people. I just met a great gentleman just now from LiveGuard. They're doing some great work, and we work with a lot of battery players. And let me tell you about swap technology. I work very closely on swap technology. See, it's very easy right now for you to say, we want standardization. We've got to get to a critical mass. And I again say, Rome wasn't built in one day. It takes time. But the pace, let me just give you data, because I was in my younger days, I was an analyst on Wall Street for a long time also. Over 53% of three-wheelers are already electric. 53%. I would tell you over the next 5 years, 75% of three-wheelers will be electric. 60 to 70% will be in two-wheelers electric, and I'm hoping I'm also working in trucks, that for Switch Mobility buses and trucks, 30%. I mean, we've had the Delhi government say that in the very near future, every bus will be electric. So I'm telling you, this debate of electric or hydrogen, I don't want to say, we're already there. That's happening no matter what the ICE guys say. I think the ICE game is over. Now, there will be a phase out, but what I was going to say, safety is important. I think if we can get a great handle on battery technology, which is changing every day, and there is, you know, we're giving a vehicle right now, 6-year warranty on the battery and a 6-year warranty on the vehicle with a buyback of the battery. I don't know how much more confidence I can give you. And please understand, this country needs electrification in 3- and 2-wheelers first. And the trucks and the vehicles, you know, MG just launched something today for 8 lakhs. It is all coming, whether we like it or not. And I'll tell you, this country needs it. 30 of the most polluted cities in the world are here. And I'll tell you, we're old, but all these young people out there, they need a better country. And if we want to be a 3 trillion, you know, we want to be a 5 trillion economy, and we want to be a country that has leaders of the future, we need our kids to be in a better place. So I think, and I will tell you one last thing, I know time is very limited, so I'll pass it on to the others. It is an alliance-based business. This is not something where, Ashok, Leyland could be working with Tara could be working with, they're all working together. This is a marathon, not a sprint. I tell a lot of startups, please don't think of the next round of funding. Think about how safer, quality, and there's a shakeout anyway happening, right? There's too many players barriers of entry, bringing products from China or somebody else and assembling. So I think a lot of work, a lot of great work. I would say one thing, we need the government. I don't want anything else. I don't even want FAME subsidy. I want a consistency. You go to Europe, you go to United States, there is a consistency of policy. We are changing like this, and that creates a lot of heartache for OEMs because we're investing for the long term and we're investing for projects. And so I think there is continuous improvement in charging, in battery technology, in vehicle. We're aligning forces with international players with Make in India, right? So I think, and I would request, come sometime, visit us. I'll show you the work that me and the ecosystem that we have built. And I'll tell you, you'll change your mind. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think we had a very forceful speech. Definitely it's in the right direction, although I may not agree that we'll have 100% EV. Yes, we'll have 100% zero emission vehicles. That's a separate debate altogether. But coming back to the subject here, that's on the safety aspect of it. Now safety, I think as all of you are aware that India has the dubious distinction of having the largest number of fatalities on the road. And therefore, when number of fire incidents happened with mostly with electric two-wheelers, it caused a lot of alarm in the whole system. I'm part of the various government bodies which do look into these various aspects. And therefore, all of us are aware that a high-powered committee of professors was formed, and we had the revision of AIS 158 and 38. And the last revision of that has been implemented on 31st March 2023. So definitely the vehicles are now much more safer. The thermal aspects have been to a large extent addressed. Yes, the OEM or the manufacturers or the fly-by-night operators who had been importing kits from China and other countries would be having a tough time meeting those revised regulations 156 and 38. Now is a time that we need to look the next step, because really we can't allow so much fatalities to happen in the country. Whether it is IC or EV, both have to be taken care of. And today I can definitely say that Indian vehicles, because I've been associated with the auto sector for more than 2 decades, that we have some of the most safest vehicles on the road, which is very evident from the statistics which has been coming out, that over the decades, the number of fatalities per 10,000 vehicles has been gradually coming down. Although the number of fatalities on the road has been going up, and there also more than 50% of the fatalities of the vulnerable segments, that's the two-wheelers and the pedestrians. And unfortunately, on the electric front also, two-wheelers are the first movers to this. And as for the data which has been by Uday has just now shared with us, we are expecting a huge growth in the electric two-wheelers and electric three-wheelers. And that's again a very vulnerable segment. To take care of the safety aspects of the vehicle as a whole, India is already looking at mandating Bharat NCAP, which has been delayed for some reason or the other, which is very much in line with the global NCAP, and that will take care of the crash requirements, whether it is IC or EV. But now to take care of the thermal aspects of the EV, I think we need to add a certain tests in the Bharat NCAP in addition to what is already there for the IC related vehicles, which would take care of the thermal aspects or the thermal management of the thing. Although the technical aspects are already being taken care of by the AIS standards, which are already in force from 31st March 2023. But we need to add a couple of more tests to it, which may not be mandated from the regulatory requirement, but would be required essentially for the star rating which you will get under the Bharat NCAP. So looking at the consumer angle, that's what the consumer will look at, whether this vehicle is a 5-star or a single star. And the sooner we are able to implement it, taking care of the thermal aspects, I think we would have made our vehicles, not only the IC vehicles, but the EV vehicle equally safe. So I think the recommendation from this summit, I think, should be to the government that they should include some more tests, and that's where the test agencies, I think, need to come up with some additional tests to be done, and which will be incorporated in part of Bharat NCAP, and the consumer would be able to take an informed decision when he buys any IC or EV vehicle as such. That was my initial comments.
Thank you. So I'll probably give a different perspective. As a material scientist, we are an advanced materials and specialty chemicals company. We're global. The name is Element Solutions as a parent company. The history goes back a long way, 300 plus years. We are 92 years old in India as a multinational. And we're basically focused on electronic materials going from chip to box. Anywhere where an electron goes, we make that. And in thermal management, again, anywhere where a phonon or electron goes that carries heat, we make those materials. So it's a slightly different perspective. I would say that this is the age of material science now. When you really look at where the innovations are going to come from to solve the most difficult problems, to help increase the efficiency dramatically. You know, you look at wide band gap semiconductors and how you use them, whether it's silicon carbide, gallium nitride, etc., that's being used in advanced EVs today. To the advanced battery technologies that are coming out and the ability to extract the maximum efficiency from it and make them safe. So, you know, what are some of the key technologies that, since this session is about safety, what are the key technologies we're talking about here? So if you really look at the systems, and I'll only talk about the EV space, chargers, taking the power in through the power electronics into the battery, from the battery to the motor, etc. What you need is the ability to handle the electron transfer and the heat transfer at every layer in the chain in a safe manner, right? And effectively it is about management of current transfer and the management of the heat that comes out as a matter of the inefficiency or the environmental conditions. Which basically means that if you're talking about power electronics, critical technologies end up becoming how do you maximize the power density in a very small space. That could involve advanced interconnect technologies like sintering, where you can extract extreme amounts of heat, and these are commercial technologies today. They weren't commercial 10 years ago. Now it's becoming industry standard globally. The second key technology platform is, what I would call highly reliable joining materials like solders and protection materials, reliability enhancement materials, etc., that prevent resistance from increasing in that current carrying chain. The third major platform relates to really battery technology and how do you both encapsulate the cells and the packs, and how do you take heat away from the cells, at the same time providing the ability to contain any problem, be it thermal runaway or otherwise, and then take the heat away from the battery pack into the casing and from the casing outward. The other major platform, I would say, is improved current carrying technologies in the components like bus bars and things like that, where you can actually add tremendous value by engineering your surfaces and subsurfaces to maximize the current carrying capacity. So since time is short, we don't have much time, but anybody can catch up with me afterwards, we can talk more. The ability to actually take battery packs, the encapsulant materials, the foam materials, the engineering of those foam materials in terms of both thermal management and insulation and fire suppression, as well as the thermal management, pastes, films, etc., that go along with it. Those areas will be significant areas for innovation. And of course, then innovating in the active components themselves, where you maximize the efficiency of energy conversion. One of the areas where heat actually is generated is when you convert energy from one form to another. That process itself is inefficient, is not 100% efficient. Whatever is inefficient shows up as heat, and you have to manage that. And so the ability to innovate at the active component level and managing everything else from there becomes absolutely critical going forward. So, certainly, I would say in the Indian context, someone mentioned it earlier, the innovation has to be India specific, because Indian conditions are very different from the Western world or anywhere else, and you're basically looking at completely different requirements. And so, but on the other hand, there are materials technologies that are available that can be put together for the conditions that are here on the ground. They just need to be tailored. The innovations need to be India specific in these conditions. So any other questions we can take later on? That's what I had to mention.
Thanks a lot. So a couple of things that came out very nicely in the panel. One, I think, is that when you have any new technology, there is some initial teething trouble. And we saw this in Delhi when we transitioned from diesel to CNG about 20 years back. So that's one. So there's one. Second is, if you look at the data and all the established players, being in the bus segment, two-wheeler segment, or in the car segment, who have electric vehicles, their product is fairly good. In fact, it can be compared to anything which the West is also producing. So that's point number 2. Point number 3, there were some cases where some local operators tried to assemble a vehicle by sourcing aggregates from different part of the world, which resulted in some of these incidents. So, and again, even a single life lost is too much. So how do you kind of create a framework where we develop, where we manufacture, where we supply vehicles which are safe, as well as give us the desired benefit? I think that's the critical part of it. But having said that, we have seen that a lot of these incidents were overblown, so much so that in some cases it created an impression that should I really buy an electric vehicle? In fact, when I was looking at buying an electric car about a year back, my wife asked me, do you really want to buy an electric car? Have you not seen that incident? So there's a lot of, so I think what needs to be happen is that how do we create an environment of confidence where people who are going to buy this vehicle really trust this vehicle. But the second question is, why are we even saying this? The reason why we are saying this, and Uday put it very nice, the future is electric. Whether we like it or not like it, future is electric. The bulk of it will be battery electric. There will be some cases for hydrogen fuel cell as well. But again, both these technologies are electric. And if you look at some of the recent development that has come, even if you look at the GHG emission norm that come from the Europe, heavy duty vehicle segment is being looked at, almost 30 to 35% heavy duty vehicles will be electric by 2030, just 7 years away. If you look at the greenhouse gas emission which has come from the US few weeks back, massive electrification is going to happen. So when you're looking in a connected world and the world is moving towards electric, the question is why we in India will not move to electric. So we have had a great pace in the two-wheeler and three-wheeler segment. Cars are picking up. Buses, in fact, when I speak to cities now, no one is looking at buying diesel or CNG bus. Every city wants electric bus. So that transition is happening. And very shortly you will see the trucks, both in the light, medium and heavy duty vehicles, also going to electric. The reason is simple. One, we have a climate commitment. So we did an analysis, we looked at various powertrain technologies and we found that only 2 technologies can deliver on climate goals: battery electric and hydrogen fuel cell. No other technology can deliver on climate goals. That's point number 1. Point number 2, public health. Our analysis shows that India loses 74,000 lives every year, these are premature deaths that could be attributed to transport vehicle exhaust alone. So switching to zero emission, zero tailpipe emission, you have potential to save 75,000 lives in India. And third is, if the world is shifting to a new technology, should we be left behind? Because we have an industry which provides jobs to millions, that contributes 4.5% to GDP and more. So I think this transition is happening. So how do you create products which are safe, which boost consumer confidence, is something that we have to decide and come together. With this, let me end this session, because when I started, the food was hot. Now it is warm. If we delay further, it will be cold. Let's not get there. But again, thanks a lot to the panelists, and thanks a lot for joining slightly short session. Thank you, sir.
See, since I work with the MORTH, see, government is always positive. I will just quote one example. I think we have got L1 category of vehicles. In the definition, we mentioned that it should be below 250 watt. We have realized, because industry, nobody came forward and told this is the initiative taken purely by the government to make it 4.5 kilowatt. This was the initiative, because I was there at that time. Nobody referred us, so it was a decision. So that is why what I want to say, government is very positive on making the policies.
Okay, with this, let's close the session and please join us for lunch.